The Commanders have something now. I'm telling you, they have belief, and it is hard to overstate how important that is.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Power Rankings Tuesday, presented, of course, by DraftKings. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you know this. I got, 4 hours of sleep, recording now from a hotel in parts unknown between Buffalo, New York, and central Pennsylvania. And it is time to dive into first the thoughts from last night's game before we get into the power rankings. Couple of doozies last night in very different ways. Shout outs, by the way, to our patrons, Eric Lavi, Justin Glazier, Gregory Bryant, as we keep racking up more and more patrons that want to be part of our private Slack channel community, patreon.com/RT Media. New week, which means new spread the word winners at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod. Of course, those of you that take advantage of any of our sponsors, like westsshorehome.com/Ross, futurefans.com, using the code Ross, and love the YouTube shout out because I love sending you guys these videos. Email them to you on my phone, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
I think it's likely time to panic in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, his winless streak extends to 303 days following a 47-10 blowout loss to the Bills.
Well, anybody that listens to this show or the Even Money podcast knows I was very much not expecting this. The Jaguars had been really competitive in their first 2 games. I mean, they were up on the Dolphins 17-7. Travis Etienne was about to go in for a touchdown to make it 24-7, and the Jaguars would have won that game. Instead, Javon Holland punched the ball out. Jaguars ended up losing. Then the next week was not good against the Browns, but still 18-15. They were in it until the very end. Last night was one of the most one-sided games I've ever been a part of in pro football. It was a lot to a little. Although we will start with the food in the press box. Stellar performance by the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they had carved fruit, which was delicious. 2 different types of salads. Quinoa salad, strawberry goat cheese salad, which I had. Then I had one of the turkey croissants, sandwiches. Turkey club croissant, which was delicious. One of the ham and cheese sliders, delicious. I had more than one of the wings, I will admit that. And I had some celery, because I like celery, as you could see on my video last night on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL. Really nice performance by the Bills. I give an A. It was beautiful if you look at the videos, and it tasted delicious. Way, way better than anything that went on during the game for the Jags. The Bills scored touchdowns on their first 5 drives in the first half. It was 34-3 at halftime. And what's crazy about it, Jack, is it's not like there was any resistance. I mean, I remember Josh Allen ran for 1 3rd and 11, but other than that, the Jags couldn't even get close to getting off the field. It felt like the Bills' offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, was a step ahead of Jags D coordinator Ryan Nielsen the entire time. And by the way, the Jags defense had actually been decent through the first couple games. That was clearly not the case in this one. They didn't slow them down at all. Everybody got involved. The tight ends, Shakir, Keon Coleman, who was benched for the first quarter, came in and scored a touchdown. James Cook did his thing. Josh Allen, I think, right now has to be the MVP of the league, or at least up there. And for the Jags, it was an abomination. And I posted this on social media. In my experience, primetime blowout losses like that a lot of times lead to people losing their jobs. It doesn't necessarily mean Doug Peterson, the head coach, or the GM, Trent Baalke, but somebody, maybe the OC, I don't know. But the Jags were not competitive at all in that football game. It was rough.
Before we move to the next game, something I think everybody needs to know as it relates to wings. Are you blue cheese or are you ranch guy with your wings?
I am neither. I don't care for either blue cheese or ranch. I just like the wing sauce. Good question, Jack.
Interesting. A stat in this next game I think you'll like. The Commanders, they win the first game in NFL history to not feature a single punt or a turnover, sending Cincinnati to 0-3 with a 38-33 win.
Well, this was another stunning result. I mean, the stunning result from Jags-Bills was just that it was that much of a one-sided blowout, which is always a bummer if you're a broadcaster like me calling the game. The stunner of this game was the fact that the Bengals lost at home again to fall to 0-3. They're not just 0-3. They've lost to the Commanders and the Patriots at home in a couple of very, very winnable games. The biggest takeaway from the game, Jaden Daniels is a star. He improved greatly, I thought, from week 1 to week 2, even though they had to settle for field goals against the Giants. In this game, against the Bengals defense, which is typically pretty decent, he took it to an entirely different level. 21 of 23, 91% completion percent. 91%. The best in a single game by a rookie NFL history. 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran when he had to. And honestly, those numbers don't even do it justice because 2 of his touchdown throws were absolutely phenomenal and perfect. Meanwhile, for the Bengals, Joe Burrow was fantastic. 29 of 38, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, throwing deep bombs to Jamar Chase. I mean, Joe Burrow was awesome, but the Bengals defense could not get a stop. Evan McPherson missed a field goal. Cam Taylor-Britt probably needs to stop talking trash during the week on a winless team. They were not really able to get after Jaden Daniels. They weren't able to stop the run. Terry McLaurin looks like he's got a good thing going now with Jaden Daniels. It was super, super impressive. It was a breakout party for the Commanders. You'll be hearing more about them a little bit later. Right now, you'll hear about how delicious Labatt Blue Light is. Drink it with your friends. Drink it with your family. Drink it anytime you want to taste the most delicious light beer in the world. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
It's time for the all-important Power Rankings. The worst team in the history of the NFL is...
All right, Ross, move on to the Power Rankings. 32nd, Miami Dolphins.
Well, and remember, these Power Rankings are what I think would happen if these teams played a series of games in my backyard or Wichita, Kansas, or North Dakota or whatever, if they played a 5-game series right now. And with Tua out, the Dolphins, they really, really struggle without having him as their quarterback. These backup quarterbacks do not appear to be capable of getting it done.
31st, Tennessee Titans.
That was a step in the wrong direction. I thought the Titans would perform better than that. I thought as long as Will Levis doesn't have a ludicrous turnover and they don't get a blocked punt, that they'd actually be okay. Well, that was not the case. They got run over by the Packers, and Will Levis still had a costly turnover.
After last night, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are 30th.
They got to be pretty low after that performance. First of all, they're winless. Second of all, it appears they're going in the wrong direction. They got worse from week 1 to week 2, and definitely worse from week 2 to week 3. And they came out last night, Jack, with no juice, no life. It was Monday Night Football. They were 0-2, and it was like they didn't want to be there. It was bad.
29th, New England Patriots.
Well, that was a primetime game that was maybe equally bad, right? I mean, the Patriots were a no-show against the Jets last Thursday night. They also appear to be going in the wrong direction, and injuries, especially for them on the offensive line, are hurting them.
28th is the Chicago Bears.
I think the good news for the Bears is that Caleb Williams, really for the first time, did some positive things that I think you could be encouraged about if you're a Bears fan. You know, threw for a bunch of yards, threw a couple touchdowns. Obviously, a lot of it was sort of in garbage time or later in the game, but it still felt like a step in the right direction for him personally.
27th is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Well, they were embarrassed at home by the Panthers. There was talk of them potentially, going ahead and making a change at quarterback. They're not going to do that. Gardner Minshew has played pretty well. And programming note, for those of you that don't follow me on social media, at Ross Tucker NFL, I got the Raiders game for CBS on Sunday. Browns at the Raiders. I actually thought that both teams would be 2-1 and said they'll both be desperate for a win after really, really disappointing home losses.
26th is the Denver Broncos.
Moving up. That was a major step in the right direction. Really both sides of the ball. If you think about it, the Broncos defense has been solid. Broncos defense has kind of done the job. And this was sort of the first game where Bo Nix wasn't turning it over and costing his team a chance, and they were able to get a win as a result. Broncos look like a team that's at least going to be competitive, which is more than you can say for some of these other teams, down near the bottom. Fellas, ladies, it's week 4. If you have any kids in your life and you haven't gone to futurefans.com to get them these incredible storybook-led activity boxes, why not? A bunch of you have sent me emails with your order confirmations, which I love. I've even had multiple friends text me to say, hey, I got a box. It's awesome. I've gotten pictures of some of my friends outside with their kids learning the downs, which is awesome. Future Fans is genius. The key is unlocking a lifetime of memories with your child, whoever it is, any kid in your life. Doesn't have to be your child. Can be your nephew, your grandchild, whatever, starting right now. Go to futurefans.com to learn more. Use code Ross. Futurefans.com, code Ross. There's no I in football. It's a we thing. An experience best enjoyed together. Smirnoff knows that. That's why it's the perfect vodka for crafting delicious cocktails, easy to make and versatile for any and all fans over 21. They got a lot of good things going. It's the world's #1 vodka. It's an official vodka partner of the NFL. It's award-winning vodka, and they started in 1864. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under the legal drinking age.
Speaking of a big step in the right direction, 25th is the Carolina Panthers.
Well, what a difference a quarterback makes, right? I don't know if they're really, better than all these other teams behind them, but they certainly looked like it with Andy Dalton as their quarterback. And Dave Canales, their head coach, has already said that Andy Dalton will be the quarterback again this week, to which I would say, duh. I mean, he played so well, he couldn't possibly go back to Bryce Young, obviously, this week.
24th is the Indianapolis Colts.
So I thought the defense played better against the run, which was encouraging moving forward. And certainly they were able to get the win. They ran it better with Jonathan Taylor, Trey Sermon, Anthony Richardson. they still need more from Anthony Richardson in the passing game. And in particular, I would say more consistency.
23rd, New York Giants.
So I've already watched the tape of the Giants against the Browns as I'm starting to prepare for Browns Raiders on Sunday. Giants look pretty good. I mean, not only is Malik Neighbors a star, but terrific blitz package from the Giants defensively, and they got after Deshaun Watson. I mean, the D-line and the linebackers, twists, stunts, that was, I thought, a huge step in the right direction for the G-men.
22nd is the Bengals.
So it's tough to know where to put them. They're 0-3. I don't think any of us really think that they are that bad of a team, right? I mean, they're a solid team. They just haven't been able to get any of these wins yet. They're 0-3, and I mean, think about it. The Steelers are 3-0 already in that division. Bengals are 0-3. That is obviously not good. The good news, I guess, for them is 17-game slate. It's not over yet. You know, they could still pretty easily, I would say, go 11-6 or something like that, 10-7, but they got to start to win these games. You know, at least the offense seems to be firing on all cylinders.
21st is the Los Angeles Rams.
So they move up several spots, even without Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Still don't know that we'll see those guys anytime soon. But I think it's impressive that they were able to get that win. Sean McVay is a heck of a coach. They're a resilient bunch. And I think in a series of games, you know, even without those guys, Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford would probably find a way to win a series against these teams below them.
20th is the Cleveland Browns.
Not quite sure what to do with them. I do think their defense is still pretty darn good. You know, they were getting after Daniel Jones. They did allow a couple of long drives in the first half. And I was a little surprised they didn't do a better job against Malik Neighbors when you know he's like the threat for the Giants. But their bigger issues right now are on their offensive line. They're all injured. They're all moving around. Watson has no time, and even when he does, he's like sailing the ball over people's heads. Their offensive tape was ugly.
19th is the Arizona Cardinals.
So they dropped several spots. I still think they're a very respectable team that'll be competitive to the end. You know, they were right there with the Lions, didn't necessarily have the breaks go their way. They feel like a 7 or 8 win team to me. This was the first game where they didn't really run it very effectively, and I think that's a big reason why they only had the 13 points.
18th is the Dallas Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? Well, listen, the positive is they showed some fight in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. You want to see that from your professional football team. The guys are getting paid. You want to see them show the fight that they showed. But it still ultimately wasn't enough. I mean, they still got down in the game 28-3, and they still have some soul searching to do, especially, I would say, on the defensive side of the ball.
17th is the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm not sure I feel that differently about them after the loss to the Chiefs. You know, I mean, they were right there in that game. They had the ball at like the 20-yard line. You know, at the end of the game, they weren't able to get it done on the fourth down. I didn't like the play call, but that was a pretty evenly matched game for the Falcons against the Chiefs. It's just one of those deals where the Chiefs find a way to win those games, and the Falcons right now clearly do not.
16th is the Los Angeles Chargers.
San Diego Superchargers, San Diego Chargers, go, Chargers, go. So the injuries are starting to rack up for them, just like every other Chargers season ever. It is unbelievable. I mean, first of all, Joe Alt, the rookie right tackle, top 5 pick, sprained his MCL. He's going to miss some time. Sounds like Rashawn Slater, their left tackle, might miss some time. And we still don't know what the deal was with Herbert. And now they have the Chiefs coming to town, and they weren't able to impose their will on the Steelers on Sunday.
15th is the Washington Commanders.
And that is a huge upgrade. In fact, it's the biggest upgrade of the week, and it's presented by West Shore Home. Be like the Commanders, or be like me. Upgrade your bathroom or entry door with West Shore Home. Get free installation for 60 months. 60 months, 0% interest is insane. Plus an extra $500 off when you visit westshorehome.com/Ross. The Commanders have something now. I'm telling you, they have belief, and it is hard to overstate how important that is. For Jaden Daniels to play that well in a primetime game with everybody watching against a quality opponent, that gets like a pep in the step of every guy in the entire, every man or woman in the entire organization. They know they have a legit star as a franchise quarterback. They will now expect to play well. They will expect to win these games. Look out. The Commanders are going to be a force to be reckoned with now for the rest of the season. And maybe the rest of the time that Jaden Daniels is their quarterback.
14th is the San Francisco 49ers.
They're just so beat up, right? I mean, I think we all agree they're a better team than this, but they're so beat up right now. And I got to go by what they are right now. Christian McCaffrey's evidently in Germany, seeing a specialist for his Achilles tendonitis. That does not sound very promising.
13th is the Green Bay Packers.
Dun 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 dun. Go Pack, go! Shh. Dun 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 dun. Go Pack, go! I've talked enough on the last 2 Mondays about Matt LaFleur and the coach he is. How about Jeff Hafley, their new D coordinator? He's been impressive, and I am so happy for Malik Willis. So many people left him for dead, probably myself included, definitely Steve Fezzik on the Even Money podcast, and he's just come out and played his you-know-what off. Very, very impressive.
12th is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So the Bucs, that was a step back, right? I wasn't gonna kill them that much for one loss, but it really wasn't just one loss. I mean, they were thoroughly dominated, I thought, both sides of the ball by the Broncos. Gonna chalk that up as, hey, it happens sometimes and move on.
11 is the Seahawks.
I'm not quite sure what to do with them, Jack. They're 3-0. They're undefeated, but they haven't really played any quality opponents yet. And the games have been close. We'll find out a lot more about the Seahawks Monday night when they take on the Lions.
10th is the New York Jets.
Jets, Jets, and climbing. Everything I said about the Jaden Daniels and the belief, that's what the Jets locker room has now too with Aaron Rodgers.
9th, Baltimore Ravens.
So that was a gigantic win they had to have. We know they're a good team. We know they're going to be in the mix, but they had to win a game and just kind of get off the schneid and feel better about themselves.
8th is the Detroit Lions.
The Lions, that was more like it. That's more like the Lions we expect to see. I'm still not sure that Jared Goff is kind of firing on all cylinders or playing as well as he did last year, but the offensive line did. The defense was awesome. That was a nice combo for the Lions on Sunday.
7th, New Orleans Saints.
They were so good the first 2 weeks, I didn't want to drop them that much, especially against a quality Eagles team. But wow, I mean, the Saints are fortunate that the score was that close because the stats were not. The Eagles were clearly the better team on Sunday.
6th is the Texans.
Texans had to drop a few spots after the Vikings thoroughly undressed them on Sunday. I don't know how that happened to the Texans other than to say the Vikings right now just might be that good.
5th is the Eagles.
Eagles, Eagles. Eagles are a tough team to figure right now because I don't know about the right side of the offensive line. And it sounds like there's a decent chance they won't have either Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown for Sunday's game against the Bucs. But man, I mean, they were so good without those guys because of Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert. You almost don't know what to do.
4th, Steelers.
How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? The stinking Pittsburgh Steelers, as people in Eastern PA would say, their defense is as legit gets. And now Justin Fields is playing better. Look out, NFL. If they can get average play from Justin Fields, the Steelers are a force to be reckoned with.
3rd is the Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings. Well, so it's real now, right? You know, the Darnold thing is real. Sounds like he just has a bruised knee. He's okay. But the Darnold thing is real. The defense is real. We'll see if they can play at this high of a level the rest of the season, but I'm done with any preconceived notions coming into the year.
2nd, Buffalo Bills.
So the Bills and the Vikings have been the two most dominant teams in the NFL so far. Bills in the AFC, Vikings in the NFC. The Bills, even with their injuries, have been awesome. They were again last night, but I still can't put them over the Chiefs at 1. They're the back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They're undefeated. And honestly, I don't know how, but in a series of games against the Bills or the Vikings, the Chiefs would seemingly still come out on top. Other than that, I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. It's anniversary season. Get the best anniversary gift ever, or just get the best gift for a loved one in any way, a birthday, whatever. myfrontpagestory.com. Backofficescheduler.com, HumanHeadNYC.com, Sporticulture, Pizza Boy Brewing.